Grow My Cleaning Company teaches owners of cleaning companies just like you how to grow your company, make more money, and finally take charge of your financial future and your life. This podcast is about automating and creating systems that give you time and money freedom so you can grow like crazy without losing control. Since this is totally free, if you're getting tons of value, want to support us and make sure that you get more of the good stuff, subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast today. Now, on to the show. Cleaning Nation, welcome to another episode of the Grow My Cleaning Company podcast. I have today Jared Baker, owner of Bluegrass Commercial Cleaning since 2016. This guy's in Mayfield, Kentucky. Bluefield provides commercial cleaning services to Western Kentucky and Northwest Tennessee. Brother has been in other businesses, kind of got some operational, or not operational, but ownership interest, not so much operational, some other stuff. And he's got a full-time job. So that is not typical. We typically have guys that start in a full-time job, become entrepreneurs, leave the job. Rarely do we have guys that have been entrepreneurial so far as you do. So dying to dive in and talk about that. Anything I missed on the intro? And if not, what question do you have and how can I serve you today?
Sure. So Mike, the biggest struggle I'm having is we purchased this business 5 years ago from a friend.
The cleaning business?
Correct. It was she had started in 1995. We went to church together. She moved to Alabama. We purchased it in 2016 because I was sort of segueing out of my other business. And my full-time job, I work for the federal government, and any creativity they squash. So that's why I put my creativity is into a side business. So when we purchased it, we had 7 employees and we had 9 clients, regular reoccurring weekly clients, some, 3 nights a week, some, it's all commercial. And here, right around 5 years later, we have 83 clients and 34 employees. So it is becoming very difficult to handle a full-time job, a growing business of which I'm actually making more in it than I am in my full-time job, 3 young kids, and then my wife also works. So that has been a struggle of mine.
So let's talk through what I hear you saying is, hey man, I've got a business. I've done some business. I've done well at it. And I kind of see things in a spectrum. And I feel like the federal government is about as far on this side of the spectrum as you can get. And being on, you couldn't be polar opposites, right? Like they're just
right, exactly.
And I couldn't even imagine, like I would immediately get fired or shot, or I don't think over the government, it would last 19 seconds, or I would commit a homicide. It really just depends on who was armed and how that all shook out, but it would end poorly. So God bless you for being able to thrive in that environment. And I can't imagine a lot of government workers out there, but for all y'all, it's fine. It's not for me, right? I'm not saying it's bad for everybody. The way I'm wired, and most entrepreneurs are wired, couldn't even countenance that. So I'll start with the dumb question. Why haven't you quit now or 2 weeks ago? Or like what's holding you back today?
Well, so I work for the U.S. Forest Service. So I do get to work outdoors some. I'm over business operations.
By the way, for anyone on the podcast not watching, just picture exactly what you think the U.S. Forest office would look like in Kentucky, and I promise you that's what you'll see if you come to the it's like there's a beautiful, it's a nice building. I can see the trees in the back. It's literally if you were like making a movie in central casting and they're like, hey, we need a government building for the U.S. Forest Service, that they would rent out that spot. It's so spot on. Anyway, go ahead.
So I've been in this career for 15 years. With government, and I've got a fairly high level position. I'm over business operations for a national recreation area. So it's a flexible job. I get to do a lot of telework, and so there are some fun aspects to it. But the bureaucracy of government work is absolutely terrible for a creative mind.
For sure.
And but the benefits are phenomenal. The health benefits, the retirement, all that type of things. So my struggle is, I'm at 15 years. At 20 years, if I retire out at 20, I get to keep my health benefits. And then I can move on. And that's sort of my goal. Can I make another 5 years?
So I have such definite thoughts about that. And a lot of these are, this is going to be 20% business and 80% kind of Mike's personal view on life. So feel free where Mike and Jared's view on life intersect. You take all that and use it. The parts where you're like, you're just a different human than me, and what works for you ain't going to work for me. You will hurt zero of my feelings if you're like, I get it. I get where you're coming from, but that's not what the team Baker wants for their life. Is that a fair ground rules before we go on? Okay.
Correct.
So I have a very definitive thought. And they're business concepts that work in all business, but I think they'll absolutely apply to, it's so funny, by the way, for those of you guys on the podcast, you're going to come back and watch the video. So early in the interview, for whatever reason, Jared's face just a little darker, not quite witness protection dark, but a little darker. And then as he started talking about quitting his job and getting out of the government, he got lit like the sun came out. It was, if we could have planned it, I would have, but it just happened. So enjoy that video, people, and my apologies, audio folk. You just have to take my word for it. It was awesome. Okay. So there's two things at play here, and I hear them a lot. That's why I have such strong feelings about it. One is benefits, right? The government, they may be dumb, but they're not stupid. Hey, we're going to crush the living soul out of everybody that works for us. Mm-hmm. B, the pay is going to be adequate to not great. But boy, oh boy, are these benefits going to be fantastic, right? That is something we could learn as small business owners, not that they have to be government type benefits, but people will make decisions for things that in my opinion don't make sense. So one of my philosophies that has served me most of my life is, well, at least the parts of my life where I had money. It sounds like that's the part of your life you're in, Jared. I was trying to put Jared and Baker, and I was coming up with Jaker. So that's why I just almost called you Jared.
That's good.
So if you have a problem that requires money and you have money, you do not have a problem. So a lot of folks with the government stuff, like the health insurance, blah, 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 blah. And I get it. I got it. But we got to reduce that crap down to money, right? If you have a problem, lack of health insurance that requires money, and you have money, there is no problem. So I would immediately reduce that lifetime health insurance benefit to a number. Maybe you're like, you don't understand, this is government work, it's blah, blah, blah. Yeah, fine. I promise you, with enough money, my wife she's healthy, but she's got some stuff. So not always, for the last couple of years, we've had a concierge doctor. You can just pay a flat fee. And that guy, he only takes a couple hundred clients, and she just texts him calling time she needs, plus health insurance for major hospitals and stuff like that. So I promise you, whatever plan you've got with enough money, you can get a better plan.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I would reduce that down to, that's a $1,500 a month benefit, or $2,000, or whatever. That's, I don't know your plan. That's between you and God. And go, all right, so that's $20,000 a year for the rest of my life. That's really all you're saving the next 5 years for. For those of you who can't see me, I'm 47. Jake, keep playing
43.
Jake. Yeah.
Jared.
Say Jared looks similar in age
43.
to me. Mm-hmm. Dude. So concept one, if you have a problem that requires money, you got money, and you got no problem. Problem two, the two main things that kind of we have that we can invest or spend in our life are time and money. 100% of us will be poor in one of those things at the end of the sentence. That's time, right? Mm-hmm. My favorite observation from a comedian is when he goes, hey, look at this picture. It's of me when I was younger. And he's like, every picture is of you when you were younger. Like, that's the only way they make them, right? That's how life works. So those 5 years are irrevocable. Once they're gone, you will never, ever, 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 ever get them back.
No, you're right.
Let's just go nutballs and say that package is worth $250,000.
Right.
I don't know what you get paid. I don't know what the thing. Call it $500,000. I don't care. Whatever the number is, your 5 years of pay plus the benefits that you would get beyond.
That would be about right.
All right. So let's call it $500,000. Let's make it the aggressive part.
That would be about right.
Okay. I personally, and again, so we all get poor with time as time marches on. It's how God built this thing. Whereas money does not work that way. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have more money, sometimes we have less, right? Depending on our investments, what we do, how we do, blah, blah, blah. But generally in America, for smart guys, and certainly more so for guys like Jared, we get more money as time goes on, right? Because we're at the beginning, we're just paying rent and buying ramen noodles and maybe investing in education. As we get older, we do stuff like buy homes and things that actually appreciate, or stocks, things that go up in value where our money works for us without us having to work. So generally we get richer in money, and without exception, we all get poorer in time. So there's no universe where I would trade 5 years of my unhappiness for, I don't want to say any amount of money, but it's way more than $500,000. I guarantee I come to you that. So for me, that would be an instant. I'm going to do what I love. And again, the fact that you happen to be an entrepreneur, there's other people who are like, well, I don't have any other skills. And, like I've seen military people that are genius in the military. They retire after 20 years. They can't balance the checkbook, right? They're used to someone being their parent and be like, go here, do this. And they thrive in that environment. For them, totally different kettle of fish, right? I'd be like, hey, stay as long as you like, right? If that's your universe and that's where you work, then let's do that. I've gotten none of that from you, Jared. I've gotten a lot of, I got to go. Yeah, I would say that's the overreaching thing with the bonus of you seem like a bright guy. So I can't even put a price on what is it costing you and your company to not be able to. There's a reason most of us generally don't have a wife and a mistress because we're kind of shitty to both, as opposed to all my eggs are in this wife basket and I can be a great husband and really have an amazing relationship that will have children and kind of be the most important thing in my life. I feel the same way about business, right? If the mistress is a crappy mistress, the government's terrible. So I can't even quantify what it would be worth to you to unleash that potential within Jared in terms of, holy crap, I can spend all my time with my wife and not have to worry about this mistress. So all that said, what am I missing? What would still hold you back? Or what's, there oftentimes is a, yeah, but still. So here's your opportunity. Yeah, but still me.
No, there is no yeah, but still. I mean, it's one of those things I realize that I should do. My wife works and she does really well. She's a pharmacist. So we could absorb the impact. It's just making that leap. But then there's also a side of me that when I bought this business, I bought it to possibly flip it and sell it. And I had an offer last year for a sizable number. And my father told me it was a meeting of two idiots, one idiot offering the number and one idiot not accepting it.
I like your dad right off the bat, man.
But my enjoyment doesn't come with making the money. I get endorphin rush whenever I get a new client, whenever I have a success, whenever I have the business building. That's the part that I enjoy. The money's great. That's wonderful. And what was, we just started I guess 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I never looked. I mean, I knew what cost of goods sold was, but I never plugged in that number. So I'm a numbers guy and I have Excel spreadsheets for everything. I was pretty amazed your Excel spreadsheets were very similar to ones that I'd already constructed. I mean, almost scary similar.
That's cool.
And so I went ahead and ran my cost of goods sold for last year, for all of last year. And my cost of goods sold was 41% with around a 30% overhead. So I was like, okay.
And just for some context, the Cleaning Nation, we coach 50% cost of goods sold, 30% overhead, 20% profit. Certainly, I've never yelled at anybody for having a lower cost of goods sold. That means higher prices, higher margin. Hopefully, you're able to offer a premium service and your people love it. I'm guessing you are because you're getting clients. So 40% cost of goods sold, 30% overhead, 30% profit is great. Just so everyone's like, I don't know what those numbers mean. It means Jared's business is very healthy. Go ahead, buddy.
Right. So, I have no idea where I was going with that.
So I got to tell you, man, I got to be honest, from what I hear, and it sounds like your wife's supportive because that has a lot to do with it, right? If your wife's got an emotional response of like, oh, I will freak out if you leave this business, that's got to be taken into account.
No, she's supportive. We've been together since she was 13. I was 17. I mean, she's raised me.
I'm liking you better and better, man. I'm less interested in Jared, more interested in his dad and his wife. I'm like, I got to meet both these people. I'm digging them both right off the bat. Honest to goodness, my friend, I'm really hearing zero logical. And it's funny, you strike me as a very kind of right brain, whatever the logical sequential black and white guy is. And I'm hearing zero of that. It's a complete emotional hesitation, which doesn't seem like who you are. We're not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it seems outside of the character I know of you.
Right. No, and you're exactly right. It's finally letting go is the difficult part. And I know I need to do it. In fact, I changed the cover of my screen on my phone several times and things, just do it, just change, things like that. It's just doing it.
I will encourage you. I know I don't have any vote in this thing, but if it would help, let me pull out my magic coach wand. I only pull this out for very special people. Here it is.
Over the head.
Yeah, no, it looks just like a pen, but it ain't. This was given people like the queen. This is very important. Jared, you have my permission to quit your job today. See how easy that is? There you go. If that's all you needed, let's get this party started.
Sure.
But really, sounds like you've grown your business. And again, we can get into details, but I'm sure you already know the numbers. I would guess aside from, I can't remember if you told me this on air or off air, but it sounds like you're making more income from your business than you are your job, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And let's even count the job all in, right? And again, we don't have to get numbers, but say you're making 100 grand a year and you're like, I think I'm making really 130 of benefits, right? Like say that those benefits are worth 30 grand to you.
That's about right.
Okay. we haven't talked about it. It's just,
right. No, you nailed
government,
it.
I'm like, that's about how it works.
Right. You nailed it.
Yeah. So, okay, call it $130,000. If the business is making you 150 or a nickel over that. And again, if you have $700,000 a month or a year in expenses, we got to sort that out first, but doesn't sound like that's the case. And obviously you got income from the mom. So, or from mom, sorry, from your wife. You said she raised you and you got 3 kids. So it all got
three girls. That's why I have no hair.
Holy heck. I got 1 boy. It's too much. 3 girls. I'd feel, and we got
3
the Navy.
girls,
So
you look like this.
It's too much. And God forbid they're cute. Now we got a whole different problem of brewing, my friend. Okay. So now we're both two shiny object guys just wandering the earth. Okay. So I really see. Yeah. So whatever, say that your compensation for your business is in excess of that total compensation package, not just financial, but benefits and everything. And just what you make from the business and whatever your wife makes, if that pays all your bills, it's a slam dunk from the logical side. There's not even a hesitation, but wait, there's more, right? Like if you take the real situation, I don't know what you've grown your top line, bottom line revenue from, but the real value you've built over the last 5 years isn't the 150 or 200 grand or whatever you're making. It's that. So say let's just say, what would you say you've grown the top line revenue over the last, sorry, I don't care about top line.
So when we purchased a business, the monthly gross at the time of purchase was right around $12,000 a month.
All right. What was the net? Because that's what's really going to drive.
The net, when I purchased it, I was paying payroll out of my savings.
All right. So we'll say 0 to negative something. Fair?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What's the net monthly now?
Net monthly now, it varies somewhere between 13 and 15.
All right. So we'll call it 14. What's that? 180 grand, 170 grand, something like that.
Something like that.
We'll call the business effectively worth nothing when you bought it. And maybe it was worth something, but if it wasn't making any money, I'm going to call it 0. If it's making, we'll call it 150.
Sure.
Is that right? No.
Sure. 14, but that works.
It's more than that. Yeah, it's more than that, but call it 150. Say you get a 3. And again, we are in the recurring business model, my friend. I love that about Clean.
And they're all recurring.
3 times multiple. You're sitting on $500,000 worth of equity here, my friend. So on top of the revenue you got. So it's not just that you built this job that can replace your income. You got an asset that's worth $500,000. No offense, buddy, but say it was worth $500,000 to you over the last 5 years. What on God's green earth would this be worth if this is all you had to do? Like,
right.
So last bit I'll give you, and then you'll be at 2 things I'm going to give you, and then you make your decision. One, I've coached lots and lots of people through this. And inevitably, I'm sure one has happened, but I can't remember an instance where someone that quit their job and went full time didn't within 6 months. So they'll grow like typically here's flat and they'll kind of grow like this for those of you just listening. It's not a steep angle. It's short. And then when they quit, it kind of takes a dramatic step up. Hard to quantify, just focus, value, all that sort of stuff. A little fear, right? The only variables typically are how steep, but it is dramatic, and how much stress. So there is sometimes, and it doesn't sound like you're even in this situation, but it's out there for some of our listeners, where the stress and the freak out factor, they're not as set up as you are. So they do have some real like, this has got to work in the next 90 days if I'm going to pay bills. Never seen anyone fail. Not to say it can't happen, not to say it doesn't happen all the time, just my experience, which is limited, but greater than most folks, in that I've personally coached thousands of owners of cleaning companies and dozens through this exact scenario. So I guess what I'm saying is people that were in far inferior situations than you have done this. And again, the only thing they've experienced is a little more stress than maybe they'd like. And again, 6 months in, no one I've ever talked to has regretted it, right? They might've gone, ooh, that was harder and scarier than I thought, but I still am glad I did it. And other guys are just like, that was stupid. I should have done it 5 years ago. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with, and this is what I'm going to leave everybody with, is the big thing we've got is just lack of decision. So, and that doesn't seem like who you are. So I would, and you happen to be in our elite program. So I would absolutely work through this with Suzanne or Tracy, whoever your mindset coach is, and just go, here's the only wrong decision that I can definitively say, regardless of my opinion, your opinion. The only wrong decision is for Jared to beat the crap out of himself for the next 5 years, going, will I, won't I, either date the girl or break up, but quit, or marry or break up, but quit fooling around with this nonsense. So I would commit today, right now, if you're willing to make that decision. Where are we at? March 25th. April 1st. Like, it doesn't have to be all that long, dude. We think, oh, it took me forever to decide to marry my wife, to lose weight, to quit my job, to start a business. It took me 10 years. No, it didn't. It took 1 second every time. You might have procrastinated for 5 or 10 years before that 1 second, but it took a second. That is just how decision making works. So in the minute we've got, can I get a commitment from you of by March 1st, I will have decided. And again, if that transition out program for you looks like a month or 2 or whatever it is, I'm not saying you have to light the place on fire and, flip them off as you go, but will you make that decision? Will you commit to me and the world now? And more importantly, to Jared and his wife, by March 1st, you will make that decision.
Ooh, that's so hard.
That's why I get paid the big bucks. And by the way, if you guys are like, man, Mike's harsh. Dude's a client. Once you give me money, gloves are off. I owe you some sort of result. Mean Mike shows up. Yeah. Anyway, it is hard, but it's a lot easier than death by 1,000 cuts. I can guarantee you that.
No, it is. It is absolutely. Is that a commitment you are willing to make to me, to the world, and to Mrs. Baker, who I'll find her damn email and get her this recording? Oh, she keeps telling me to. I guess for me, it's that I was raised that it's my job to provide for the family, no matter what it takes.
So hold on. This is a super common tactic.
I know.
We're changing the subject. None of that makes any difference. I didn't say what you had to decide, but first of all, let me get you to agree on the premise, and we got to wrap up.
Sure.
Would you agree that the only wrong decision is no decision?
Oh,
if
absolutely.
You say yes and go all in on that.
I'm sure
you'll make that work. And if you say no and quit beating yourself about it and just do it in your 5 years, that's still work. Okay. So we agree this, however long you're like, yes, this is torture. I'm saying, hey, why don't we end the torture in 6 days here? And you're like, no, I need another couple months. So you get to pick. You and Mrs. Baker, you go out, have a nice bottle of wine, sort this thing out. From what I can hear about your dad, invite him too. But all I'm asking is you to give yourself permission to go, the torture will end 6 days or less from now, 7, because there's 31 days in March. It's the 25th.
Sure.
Cleaning Nation, if you are going, holy heck, that was awful, and I need 0 of this in my life, I guess this is where we part friends, kids. If, on the other hand, you're going, holy heck, this is what I need that kind of coaching, perspective, insight, all that sort of stuff. We have every resource I can possibly think of you all needing at growmycleaningcompany.com. Everything we got there is free, webinar, podcast. I don't know, there's all sorts of crap. It's amazing. If you want to grow a cleaning company, growmycleaningcompany.com. Check it out now. See you there.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you're fired up, ready to grow, and want to see if you have what it takes to work with us at Grow My Cleaning Company, here's what I want you to do right now. Go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. That's growmycleaningcompany.com/talk to book an appointment to speak with me personally. I'm going to jump on the phone with you to get you crystal clear on where you are now, where you want to be, and how to get you there. Don't walk around in the dark any longer. If you are serious about growing your cleaning company, it's time to finally get the systems in place that you need to grow. We've helped hundreds of owners of cleaning companies not only grow their business and their personal freedom, but give back to their community as well. If that's what you're looking for, head over to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk and book a time to talk with me personally. I can't wait to get to know you and your business.